bitch, you a bird, you thought, you learn, you see, I earn, you stop. A word, I shoot, no rim, I'm high, you burn, I'm me, that's him, you not, that's word.
Guys, so last time we had Sam join us for UFC 297, we broke down the big Strickland versus DDP fight for the title. Happy enough to bring him back here to give us some insight on the big fight. Sean, what's going on with you, man? I mean, Sam, what is going on with you, man?
I'm just keeping busy, training every day, getting ready for whatever's next.
Man, let's get into this big fight. Obviously it's UFC 302, a big middleweight bout between Sean Strickland and Paulo Costa. Obviously, you're someone, again, who's quite familiar with Sean Strickland, friend, training partner. You've seen a lot of him behind the scenes. Let me ask you this. When was the last time you guys trained together? Like, have you guys been training together recently, or has it been kind of a while?
Not recently. I trained him in December. He wanted me to come back out and help train for DDP, but in my fight, I broke my hand and I'm just useless to him. So I feel terrible about that. I've talked to him a couple times here about Costa. I said, if you need me to come out, I'll come out. He said, yeah, but your foot's broke. Yeah, but I can ignore that. I don't need that to hit you. So I haven't been able to train for him with this one, but I've got to. I keep in contact with his coaches and his friends too. So he's training well, training hard, and feeling good about everything.
Let me ask you this, right? As someone who built a presence for themselves on social media, whether it's, their TikTok, the podcasting. I mean, we see Paulo Costa, right? A serious guy, didn't speak English. We didn't know much about him. Didn't really know the language, starts to learn the language, starts interacting with fans, starts to show his incredibly funny personality. And now people love him, right? I mean, how important is it for fighters to build their presence outside of the cage, similar to what you've done?
You use the cage as a way to grow your social media presence. And it is the easiest way for you to get more money in the UFC is to be well known around the world, whether it's because of fighting or because of your social media. It just helps. You also got to win fights, but you got a big presence. You can lead to all sorts of things.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, as far as this fight stylistically, right? I mean, Paulo, the only way I see him winning personally is by KO. I mean, no disrespect to him. It's just, again, it just comes back to a styles thing. He's knocked out 11 of his 14 opponents in his last, in all of his wins, he's knocked out 11 of 14 guys. Again, the thing in this fight is, I don't know if it's a 5-round fight or a 3-round fight. I've tried to sort of look into it. Haven't gotten a clear-cut answer. It doesn't say it on the website. I think that makes all the difference in a fight like this, because you could see how dangerous a guy like Costa is in a 3-round fight against like Whitaker, which I believe that was 3 rounds, right? He's more dangerous because he doesn't have to he could put more on his shots. It's more of a sprint. I mean, let me ask you as a fighter, right? When you're preparing for a 3-round fight compared to a 5-round fight, I mean, how different is it? Because I'm still picking Sean to win, but I think it's more dangerous if it's a 3-round fight compared to a 5-rounder. Like, do you think that's true?
Yeah, 100%. It will be easier for Costa,
particularly for a guy like him.
Yeah, for Costa gasses. He always gets tired. 3 rounds, you don't have as long to gas for. Strickland does not gas. Strickland does not get tired. 5 rounds would be a huge benefit to Strickland. I guess you're right. I was assuming it was 5 rounds, but I guess I don't know. I hope it's 5 rounds.
Right.
But 3 rounds is, you take what you can get, but 3 rounds is you can put whatever you want on it. You can pick the pace you want to go at, and you only have to win 2 rounds if you're Costa. There's always the knockout shot. He's got that big kick, which Sean was a little susceptible to against GDP. Like, it almost landed. Costa throws it all the time. Costa's cage work isn't as good as Sean's. Costa's cage work isn't as good as DDP's. If Sean can get Costa backing up early, which may or may not be Sean's strategy, I don't know. Sean usually kind of starts a little slow, but then picks up pace. But if Sean can get him backing up early, Sean can finish him in under 3 rounds. Sean's got to be able to push him backwards, and not like Costa come close.
Well, that's interesting because I only see him winning a decision. But so you think there's very much a path to getting a finish?
In 5 rounds, yes. In 3 rounds, maybe. Costa's got to quit them. And I don't mean it disrespectfully. He's just, cardio is king. Costa doesn't have it. He doesn't have that. He can't sprint for 3 rounds where Sean can. And if you start getting tired, quitting looks real easy.
What do you think is the route to victory for a guy like Costa in a fight like this? If you were him, how are you preparing to get the win?
In 3 rounds, just win the first 2. Yeah, you survive round 3 and just everything you got in round 2. For 5 rounds, you got to knock Sean out. Yeah, you got to come out maybe round 1, throw no kicks. Round 2, come in with that high kick like Costa likes to do. That would be my strategy for him. If it's 3 rounds, win the first 2. Don't worry about the third. And if it's the 5 round, you got to try and trick Sean into not seeing that kick come. Maybe spend all round 1 just throwing him low, throw him low. Then first part of round 2, throw him low. Finish with that head kick. Finish with that tricky snap kick Costa's got.
Yeah, and that's a great point you made about the head kick. I didn't really pick that up, but yeah, Costa definitely likes to throw a lot of those, quite dangerous too. As a fighter, right? Again, when you're fighting 5 rounds, right? Are you putting less on the shots because you know you have to go more distance? Is that a thing, or are certain fighters just throwing bombs regardless of how many rounds it is?
It's never been a thing for me. I have always been conditioned for 5 rounds. I'll never pull a shot. I can knock you out round 1 or round 5, whether it's 3 rounds or 5 rounds. I've always trained for 5 rounds. I could see some fighters pulling their shots, just coming up with a slower game plan because they know they can't make it to 5 rounds.
Now, how about Strickland, right? Because again, Duplessis is more dangerous. Izzy is perhaps more dangerous, but I would argue Costa has more power than both of them, right? Not saying he's better, but I think he's more powerful. That might in turn make him more dangerous. I mean, Whitaker's technically sound, but Whitaker's technically sound, but he almost got finished by Costa, right? So what does Strickland need to do now to secure the victory in this one? We talked about Costa. What do you think Strickland needs to do to win the fight?
He's got to get Costa backing up. But if he can do it early, Sean can finish him. Sean can start touching him. He's just got to get Costa to back up. Costa likes to come forwards, and Sean likes to come forwards. If Sean can suck the air out of that octagon footwork the way he controls the positioning, Sean will win this fight.
Strickland's defense seems to be key in pretty much everything he does, most of his fights, right? Especially in this one where if Costa doesn't land the big shot, it's going to be difficult for him to win. He's faced plenty of power punchers, Strickland. I mean, I remember when the Pereira fight, when they knocked him out, he was like, oh, he can't stay in there with guys that hit hard. But I mean, clearly he's disproved that, right? He's got great movement. The jab kind of neutralizes a lot of what his opponents do. How important is his defense going to be in this fight compared to, say, the pressure, like you said? Like, is a defense important?
Well, Sean's got, I think, the highest defensive striking rating in the UFC or in UFC history. Like, he doesn't get hit.
Right.
And Costa isn't a huge volume striker. He's more of that power shot guy. So, I mean, you can play the defense. You just got to be careful not to get hit that one time. I think you'll be able to play it a little bit more, too, because there aren't as many punches coming. And Costa's not a big combination guy. He's not throwing the 3, 4, 5 strike combinations. He's throwing the big 1-2 kind of stuff for that, jab kick.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you had a prediction for this fight, are you leaning more towards like a finish, more towards a decision? Because I'd lean a decision, but you seemed like there was a way for him to get a finish. Like, what if you had to put your betting money on it, right? What would you bet?
Round 5, I'm saying Sean finishes.
Okay.
Probably round 4, maybe early 5. I think Sean's pace will get to him. If it's 3 round, I'll say the tougher fight because Costa only has to win 2. But in 3 rounds, I'm going to still take Sean, but by decision.
Okay. So let's say we pull up all of, Strickland's past opponents here, right? Duplessis, Adesanya, Imavov, Cannonier, Pereira, Hermanson. Where would you rank Costa as far as all those guys? Like, is he at the very top of that list? Is he in the middle of that list? Is he at the bottom of that list? Where would you put him?
Izzy would be at the top.
Okay.
I guess Pereira would have to be above Izzy. Costa's below DDP. DDP is tricky because he's kind of rushed to the title. He's rushed up there. There's just not as many fights with him. Like, think of DDP, you just can't think what he's great at. He's just good at everything. And Costa, he hits real hard. He's got some tricky kicks, but he's not great at anything. He just has what he's good at, and he does that often.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's play like matchmaker here, right? Let's say Strickland were to get the win. Obviously, we don't want to look ahead, but I mean, you're not necessarily fighting here, so that might not be much of an issue. If Strickland were to get the win, like you think, what do you think he would have to do? Let's say Duplessis beats Adesanya. Let's say Strickland wins, right? What does Strickland have to get right to beat Duplessis a second time if they were to fight?
I think if Sean wins this, they have to give him a shot. And assuming Izzy isn't getting it, or he is getting it, they got to give Sean the shot. There's nobody else. Sean is now fighting down the rankings. He's beating guys down the rankings, and I thought every majority of people thought he won the fight. So I think he is, with this win alone, he deserves that next title shot. And Sean's made a bunch of money in his last few fights. He's in no rush to get back in the act again. So he could take his time and wait for DDP to get there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, man, I do appreciate you joining me here. Thanks for the insight. Thanks for the pick. It's always fun to do this. And yeah, thanks for the time, man.
Hey, you're very welcome. Thank you for having me on, my friend.